Hi everyone, welcome to the Shrimpy McGee channel. My name is Helen and today I thought I would make a video about how to get a really good haircut. It sounds so simple, right? But why is it so hard to get the haircut that we want? I don't know, or rather I do know. It's taking me a long time to sort it out and many haircuts, some good ones, many bad ones, far too many bad ones to count, including one that made me look like Tweety Bird. Not the cute Tweety Bird with the tiny little tuft of hair on the top of his head, but the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde Tweety Bird. And if you don't know which Tweety Bird that one is, I will insert a picture so you can have a look. I've had some harrowing experiences with having my hair cut like too short up here, too long down here, too many inches cut off, going in and asking for a couple inches off and getting like a complete bob haircut. That happened to me one time when my hair was like this long and they took it up to like here. That was completely traumatizing. I mean, I could go on, but I think I've cracked the code in the last year or so about how to get really good haircuts consistently. You don't have to go to an expensive salon. So my tips are not like, find the best hairdresser in your town or city. It's not like that. It's not anything like that is not achievable. It's all simple, attainable tips. So without any further ado, let's get right into them. My first solid tip, I would say, is to go as early as you possibly can. Now, there is a temptation when you're busy, and most of us are busy working people, to try and schedule our hair cutting appointments for like 5:30, 6 p.m., even 7. Oh, it's great. My hairdresser works late on Thursdays. I'm going to go at 8. Or I'm gonna go at Saturday at 6 p.m. because I wanna do all my stuff first and then just save the hair thing for later in the day. Don't do that. Do not do that. My best tip for you is to try and go early on in your hairstylist's workday, whatever that could mean. In my case, that means 10 a.m. because that's when the salon opens and that's when she's there. And I very consistently try and schedule it. And I'm lucky because I work from home. But if I were in the office, I would probably try and schedule it if I could for around noon. But because I'm home, I get to go there for 10. And the upside of being the first person there is that your hairstylist will be nice and fresh. If you happen to snag the first appointment of the day, nobody will be there to like push yours back because sometimes they do run late and that's totally fine. But if you're the first person in, you're not, they might be later. You might be a bit late, but there won't be any other clients that have been there before you to make you late, and you typically get them at their freshest, I find. They're not tired on their feet from a long day, they haven't had any, interactions, because as we all know, we get tired as the workday wears on, and hairstyling is one of those jobs where you're on your feet all day and you have to chat with clients. I would imagine I'm not being a hairdresser or a hairstylist myself, but I just noticed that I get consistently really good results. And my hairstylist can really listen. I think she's a great listener anyway, but I feel like she's particularly receptive really early on in the morning or in the day. And same goes if I happen to have to go on the weekend, I would try and pick one of the earlier times because as it runs later, I just find everything that runs later. And they're stressed sometimes, I feel, because they have clients waiting because people like to show up early and they have to sit and wait and stuff like that. And so I'm not saying they don't do a good job. I'm just saying that I find that everybody's more relaxed and things are more consistent if you try to be there and try and get an early appointment as opposed to a later appointment. My next tip is to bring a photo with you because, and here's my reasoning, hairstylists are very visual people. They have to be great communicators, obviously, or else they wouldn't be able to do the job that they do. So they have to be good listeners and they have to be able to try and envision what you're describing. But at their heart, they're visual people. What they do is very hands-on. It's the epitome of a hands-on job. So what I would really strongly suggest is that you find visuals to bring to them. This used to be really difficult. If you remember the magazine, like pre-smartphone era, this would be hard. Where are you gonna find a magazine picture of somebody who looks with their hair the way you want it to look? Hardly ever. Once in a while you could get inspired, if you were really into like ripping pages out of magazines and like posting them up or keeping them, but like the vast majority of us just didn't do that. We weren't really even looking at magazines for the hairstyles. You could even buy magazines, and you still can with hairstyles in them, and that's an okay place to start. But let me tell you, there is something free online. It is called Pinterest. Now, my hairstylist actually turned me onto this because we were talking about hair colors. As you can see, this is actually my natural hair color. I didn't decide to do anything, but I was playing around with the idea of sort of getting some ombre or doing something kind of really balayage or something to lighten my hair. She said, why don't you look at Pinterest for all kinds of ideas? It's really great for hair stuff. She's so right. What a great tip. So now, anytime I'm thinking of getting my hair cut or I just want a little bit of hairstyle inspiration, I go onto Pinterest. And I would strongly suggest this is what you do too. Look on Pinterest and find the hairstyles you like. Don't just bring one, bring like maybe 3. And when I say bring, all that means is like grab pictures and keep them in your smartphone, take like a screenshot, or just sign up for the Pinterest app and keep them where you can access them quickly when you're actually at the hairstylist. It makes such a difference. If you actually show them what you want, they are gonna have a much clearer idea than if you try and describe it. Because what you're describing and what they're hearing very often are very different things, as most of us can attest to who have gotten haircuts that did not match what we had envisioned in our head. If you have a picture, you have the proof, right? So you have it actually like a visual that you both can refer to. And it's also good for you too, because you can look at it and say, yeah, that's sort of hitting the mark of what I wanted, or no, maybe I wanted a bit of a shorter bang, or I wanted the sides a bit shorter, or whatever the case may be. You will have that picture with you as well. Likewise, if you get the picture and they cut your hair like that and you don't like it, you can even adjust from that point. But, it's just much better to go in with something, even if it's just for length. They'll have a much clearer idea if you have a picture with you how long you want your hair, for example, instead of trying to say like, I want 1 inch off. And talking about inches, that's something I'm going to bring up a little bit later on. That's another tip that I have for you, but we'll get there. So yes, bring pictures, use Pinterest. It is amazing. My other tip is to establish goals. Establish goals with what you want your hair to look like in about, I would say probably a good time frame is a year from now. So whether that's even maintaining it, maybe that's your goal. I want my hair to look exactly this length because I love it. If that's the case, take a picture of yourself of your hair at the particular length that you're loving it and show them that picture if that's what you want to come back to, like next time that you have a hair appointment. In my case, I have short hair, so this is going to resonate with a lot of women and men out there who are maybe trying to grow out a really short haircut, a buzz cut, a pixie cut. My goal is always that I want to grow my hair longer. I'm trying to get to a bob, and so I finally achieved the bob. But let me tell you, it took about a year to get here, and so I was very clear with my stylist every time I would go in. But she remembers me because I've been going there quite a bit, that my goal is to have a bob. She knows that. She knows a bit of my backstory and how I started with no hair, and that is very well documented. I'll add links for you guys to see sort of my hair journey from having literally no hair not that long ago, well, a while ago now, about 2 years ago now, to this bob length that I have now. So she has known that my goal is to grow my hair. That really helps keep both of us on track every time I'm there. I barely have to say anything, just like, as you know, I really am trying to grow my hair. I just need the slightest of trimming just to get the little, in this case, the haircut I just got, I just needed to have these little, I had a lot of like fringy little bits that were just kind of poking out, and I needed them really evened out. It was looking wispy. That's the word I'm looking for. It was looking too wispy on the ends, and I just really wanted the wispiness trimmed off, but I didn't want to lose any length at all because she knows I'm really desperately trying to grow my hair longer. So it was amazing. She just took the wisp away, did exactly what I wanted. I brought a picture. She gave me these absolutely perfect bangs that I'm loving so much, but I'm still able to style off to the side. I'm going to show you now how I do it. I don't know. My hair texture is a bit different. So the upside of that I find is I actually can just push my bangs off to the side. I don't know how they stay, but they just do. I think it's just a different texture, and they weigh nothing now. I used to have these really very heavy bangs. So if I want a slightly different look, which I've been liking, I've been pushing them off to the side like this. So my goal this time was to have bangs and not to lose any length. So I think you have to be really direct and really specific about what your goals are and stay true to them, and you'll probably be happier at the end with the haircut that you do get from your stylist. Okay, moving on to the next tip. Having a relationship. It's so important to establish a relationship with your hairstylist. I really think it's good. I mean, a lot of us are in the habit of just going to a salon, or at least I used to be, because I used to hate to make appointments. I used to hate thinking about haircuts ahead of time. Now I find that if I put a bit more effort into sort of planning out when and the times that I need to go, I'm getting a lot more out of it. I used to just sort of like the day before kind of try and find an appointment. That's definitely not the way to do it. Definitely give it some thought and try and be a bit patient. I was really, once I wanted a haircut, I wanted it ASAP, and that's totally a bad way to go about it. So just channel your patience, Sometimes you've got to wait a bit for your hairstylist, especially if you're trying to get one of those coveted morning appointments that I've been talking about, but it's so worth the wait. You're going to get, I think, a better haircut, and you're going to be happier, and you're going to really think about what it is that you want done to your hair so that you don't make any impulsive decisions, which I think we've all been guilty of once or twice. So if you can put it off by a few days, you know, you will make a less impulsive decision, and it'd be great if you can return to the same stylist and build a relationship with them. I think it's fair to say that most of us don't stay with the hairstylist forever, and that's totally cool too. But if you're in a phase, especially if you're trying to grow out a hair style like a buzz cut or a pixie cut, it's really good to get a relationship with someone who you're going to trust and who's going to know you. They don't need to know everything about you, of course, but they're going to know what your goals are even before you sat down in the chair for the consultation, before they wash your hair, start trimming it. I think that's really vital, and I think that just having that relationship with the same person and the consistency is really going to help bring up, you know, your haircut. It's probably going to take down the time that they need to spend with you because they know what they're dealing with as well. So returning to the same person and establishing a relationship, I think, is super beneficial, especially when you're trying to grow out a buzz cut or a pixie cut, or even if not, even if you just have longer hair and you just love getting trims, they'll know that. When they see you, they'll be like, you're usually the person who gets trims, or maybe not. Maybe you'll have a photo with them and you'll surprise them. I don't know. But I just really think it's beneficial to establish that relationship with a hairstylist. Okay, so my next tip 5, is to use emotional language. Now, when you're talking to a hairstylist and you're trying to describe what it is that you want, and that sounds kind of silly, right? Why would you use emotional language? But bear with me, there's a reason for it. A lot of times, and my husband and I were talking about this, like, hairstylists don't always listen that well. I'm sure you found this, and I think they just hear a lot, and maybe the way that they're processing it might be different from what you're trying to describe, or maybe you're just not that good at describing what it is that you want. But there are some things that almost nobody wants, right? Like, everyone's got their thing. They don't want bangs that are too short. They hate it when their hair is like above, if it's shorter than their chin. But people don't always phrase it that way. I think that lack of clarity sometimes and lack of using that emotional language, the hairdresser's not going to pick up on that. So I say just hit them with that strong language. It's okay. They'll be fine with it, and they'll hear it, and it will resonate, and it will stick inside their brain as well. So if you hate having a bob, just strictly, and I never used to do this before, but I would now. I hate for my hair to be too short. I would say that to them, and it's fine. You can use the word hate. I know we're very conditioned not to use like strong language like that, but I would say you can definitely use it. You're sitting with a hairstylist. You should get exactly what you want. I hate it when my bangs are too short. Or if you don't like saying, I love it when my hair touches my shoulders or is a bit longer. Oh, I love it when my hair is thinned out a bit. Or I hate it when my hair is thinned with thinning scissors. Use that kind of strong emotional language so that they're hearing what you're saying. Communication is key, but if the stronger you can make your language, in a kind way, of course, not in a mean way, like I hate what you did last time, I wouldn't say that. But just be like, I hate this on my hair. I love this. Use love, hate, emotional words like that. You're going to get, I think, overall a better haircut because you're being clearer in how you communicate with them. Okay, so my next tip is, at the end of a haircut, when they got the mirror and they're showing you what they've done and they're showing you this and that and they're turning you around and then you're looking and you think it's pretty good, but you're not 100% sure. I'd say you usually know when you're not getting bangs, and maybe men have this because their hair tends to be shorter. Like, okay, if they're taking your hair from, like, if your hair is like this long and they're taking it up to like there, if it's like there versus like there, what are you really gonna say, right? Like, kind of is what it is. But it's really noticeable with bangs and things like that, where you kind of have to make this, what I'm trying to say is you have to kind of make a snap decision, like, do you like this? Does it look good? The answer is probably gonna be yes. So when it comes to length on the back, you probably can judge pretty well, but sometimes with things like the bangs, you just don't know right away. You're like, yeah, it looks great. I think I love the length, but you're not 100% sure if it's completely perfect. Okay, I figured out a way to take a small time out and figure it out. And the way you take the small time out is after they've done, they can take the cape off. You're sure still that you like it, but you just want to double check and you kind of feeling maybe a bit shy or awkward about like telling them that. Just say, can I use your washroom? Go and use their washroom. Personally, I always have to use the washroom after having sat in the stylist chair for whatever amount of time it is. You know, wash your hands, all that kind of stuff. Have a look in the mirror in the washroom. Check out your bangs. That's what I did this time. I was almost positive that she nailed it, and she totally did. I didn't need any fix-up, but I have gone to the hairstylist where I thought it was totally fine. Then I get home and there's like these little random hanging down bits that honestly I just didn't notice at the time. Probably because I didn't like fluff out my hair a bit and check it. So I would just go to the washroom, look in the mirror, just fluff it out a bit and just double check it. You know, sometimes little hairs here get caught back behind. There's some stray ones, and like if you pull them out yourself, you'll find that you'll have a couple hairs that are quite a bit longer that somehow got tucked behind your ears and didn't get pulled out. And so, I mean, you can go home and cut those yourself. It's not a huge deal, but if you're still there and you just wanted that little time out, like I said, just go to the washroom, do a little zhuzhing, as they say, and check it out. And if there's anything to trim off or any little bang thing to fix or whatever the case may be, just let them know. They may have even moved on to a new client, but if you go up to them and just kindly say, oh, you know, would you be able to fix this tiny little thing here? Oh, look, I have just a few strands that are too long here. Would you be able to trim those off? Do you mind? They will not mind. I tell you right now, they would 100% rather just address it then and there rather than get a phone call from you later saying, oh, hey, can I pop in because I didn't like such and such, and could you just fix my bangs a little bit? And some people don't even do that. They just go home and they stew about like, oh, the hairdresser didn't cut the bang on this side quite the length that it was on the other or something like that. Like, just try and address it then and there if you can. And sometimes you can do that just by taking a little brief time out, just by using the washroom and just taking a moment to decompress and look at your hairstyle, right? Sometimes you just feel really under the gun when you're in the cape and they've got the mirror and you have to make this like super split decision as to whether you love it or not. Like I said, the length in the back, you probably have a pretty good idea whether you like that or not, but sometimes tiny little things you can't really see until you look in the mirror carefully or you have a second. I think it's better just to address it then and there, and that's a way you can take a really easy time out. So my next thought is that I really think we should all get away from using inches as some sort of measurement or metric for the amount of hair that you want to cut off. I think it's really useful if you have really, really long hair. You know, 4 inches means whatever, but I can almost guarantee you it means something different to the hairdresser than it means to you. So I really wish we would just stop using inches. Inches are too big. Now, here in Canada, we use centimeters, even though people are very familiar with inches, and I don't even know if that approach necessarily would be even better, but I just feel like once you actually sit down in that chair and you speak to your hairdresser, I feel like it's a metric that doesn't mean very much. Like, what is 1 inch versus 2? I can almost guarantee you most people using their fingers as a judge would not really reliably able to tell how much is like 1 inch or 2. And I'm telling you, when you get to like 2 inches or more, it seems to be very arbitrary. So I would just, you know, maybe you could use centimeters because it's a much smaller amount. Or, you know, I think a better idea is just to bring a picture instead. I think we should just get away saying, I want 3 inches off. Or just to sort of be really specific about what your goal is. Like, if you really want to trim, don't measure it in inches. Just say, I just want all the little fried bits off or all the split ends. So I think it's this much, and you should just maybe just kind of show them, but you'll be probably better off, honestly, with a photo, even if it's a photo of yourself from a previous haircut where you like the length. I honestly think a picture is the way to go. Inches is just too arbitrary. It means different things to different people. They'll probably cut it and show it to you and you'll think it's fine, and then maybe when you get home it won't be fine, and it'll be like, or you'll look down and you'll see like, you said 2 inches and like the hair is like this long, which is obviously not 2 inches. But yeah, you know, stylists being scissor happy has certainly happened to me, and I think I could have avoided it by not using the language of inches. That's my opinion though. Maybe stylists love it. You know, if you're a hairstylist and you're watching this, let me know if that's something you prefer. I feel like as a client, it's never really worked out that well for me, so I'm just gonna advocate for using photos instead. Okay, so my next tip about going to the hairstylist. Do you ever go sometimes and you just feel like they're chatting with you too much and maybe they're just like not paying as much attention as they could be paying? Is it just me? I don't know. I found a trick though for this. My hairstylist right now is not super, super chatty, but I have had real chatterboxes, and honestly, after an hour in the chair, I've been so drained. I figured out a way around this, and that is to just, if you trust them, right, and especially if they're doing the back of your hair, you can't see anyway, just close your eyes and just be like, oh, sorry, what was that? When they start to speak to you, just evoke that you're just like daydreaming. This way you will not have to chat with them, and usually they get the point that you just want to relax with your eyes closed a bit. Or you just tell them, oh, I'm so sleepy. You know, it could be a bit of a white lie. That's totally fine. I think honestly, sometimes they want to break from the chit chat too, but sometimes they feel like they need to project a sort of interested vibe and energy toward you to make you feel like you're really welcome and you're having a good time. But if you're not into that and you feel like they're not concentrating and you're just getting drained, just close your eyes and just let your mind wander. And usually they get the hint. And if they don't, you can just say, oh, I'm just loving this downtime, and just closing my eyes for a bit. It feels so good. And almost always they will respect that. So that is my tip for that. So that's pretty much what I've got for you guys. I hope that some of that was helpful. It's really been helpful for me. This has been many, decades really of getting my hair cut. Like I said, expensive places, inexpensive places. I've had like senior level stylists cut my hair, and I've had junior level stylists cut my hair, and it's been all over the board, right? Some of the haircuts I've loved the best have been from sort of newer stylists, and some of the ones I've liked the least have been from senior stylists. And I am definitely someone who hops around from stylist to stylist now and again. Probably my last tip that I want to leave you with, which is not going to work for everybody, but I think if you have a good colorist, from what I understand, and I'm not talking about color, I'm just kind of talking about hair cutting today. If you have a really great colorist, I think that's probably worth traveling and inconveniencing yourself for. But I feel like for trims, it really benefits you to go to someone who's going to be convenient to you, whatever that might be. That might be somewhere near your work. That might be somewhere near your house. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you travel to see your parents on the weekend and your stylist is there. That's fine too. I would say though, you don't want to, if you can avoid finding a place that's like an hour away, which I once had a stylist who I liked quite a bit, and she was an hour away, but the problem was it took up like 3.5 hours of my day to get out there, get my hair done, and then come back. Like, she was good, but she wasn't that good. Much happier just having a place that I can walk to that's just around the corner for me. I just feel like I'm just much more inclined to go because it's just not such a big chunk out of my day and out of my life. I can go there and be back within an hour, which is amazing. Now that I have much less hair and I'm just getting mostly trims, it goes a lot faster as well. But that would be my last tip. Just definitely find somewhere, if you can, that is convenient. It's going to make a big difference, and you'll be able to go more frequently. And so some people don't like going frequently, and that's fine too. But if you're finding that you're growing on a pixie cut, you will realistically have to go a lot. So it's best to try and find somewhere that's going to be convenient to you. All right, everyone, I hope that was helpful. If it was, definitely give me a like. If you give me a like, then I know that you like these videos that tend to be about short hair, but also about other stuff. But if you like this video and you subscribe, that lets me know that you want me to make more of this content. Hope it was helpful. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.